I'd like to call the Tuesday, March 19th, 2024 Papillion City Council meeting to order. Ms. Brown, would you please take the roll?
Sunday. Mumgard. Gaines. Glover. Fanslaw. Klug. Stubbe. Engberg.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. And do we have an affidavit of publication on file?
We do.
And a current copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the back of the council chambers. Ms. Powers, Administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Mayor Black. So there's several family fun events coming up, and just a couple. I just want to highlight a couple here. The first is the second annual Library Con is this next Saturday, so it's March 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Landing. Last year was at the library, this year it got moved to the Landing. There are planned speakers, workshops, some trivia sessions, raffle prizes, and food trucks, so if you get a chance, check that out. And the other one I wanted to highlight is the annual Easter extravaganza, which will be on Saturday, March 30th, and that's from 1 to 3 p.m. at Halleck Park. And kids will be able to take pictures with the Easter Bunny, search for Easter eggs, and win some big prizes and play some games. So if you know of any kids that would be interested in that. And then just a reminder that spring cleanup days are fast approaching, and those will be the week of April 15th to 21st. And as always, the dump site at the Public Works Complex will be open daily from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. that week. And again, they just have to show residency or their water bill for that. And then finally, I wanted to end with announcing a huge congratulations to our two 2023 Employees of the Year. And that's Diane Carlson, who's the Executive Assistant for the Papillion Fire Department. She was named the Full-Time Employee of the Year. And the Part-Time Employee of the Year went to Sheila Ehlers, who's our Youth Services Aide for the library. And they both do incredible jobs representing the city and their departments every day. Congrats to them and all the employees nominated this year. It's a huge honor to get that award. You're nominated by your peers and voted on by your peers. So congratulations again to them and everyone nominated. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Councilman Gaines. Second by Councilman Engberg. Do we have any proponents or opponents? One of the items on the consent agenda is an appointment to the Planning Commission, and that came about because I think most of you know James Robinson, who's been on the Planning Commission for quite a while, did a great job. His job's calling him away out of town for a good career opportunity, and so he announced that he was going to be leaving, so I think that's at the end of this month, if I remember right. And so we had an opening, and we spread the word, and surprisingly, we probably had more applicants this time than we have in a long time, and I think that says a really good thing about community getting engaged, and we'll keep all of those on file for other openings. So that was really nice. But the gentleman that I chose to put before you for affirmation is Chris Toynton. I've known Chris for a long time now. Chris, I'm going to ask you to maybe share a few words. We've got a light agenda, but I've known Chris for quite a while. When he came into town, he moved to the area to be the metro-wide CEO of the YMCA, and he served that metro role for, 5-6 years, somewhere in there. And then we got to know each other in that role, but he is a Papillion resident, and so he became really interested in a lot of things we were doing. So civically, we had a lot of nice conversations. And then his career pulled him away. I think he went to Nashville, if I remember right, and was down about a year doing some tremendous projects that will be very applicable to the experience on the Planning Commission. And then I think the tug to get back to Papillion and Nebraska and home pulled you back here. And so again, it tells you something who appreciates where they're at. They've been other places, they got other experiences, but I already talked a little bit about your resume, but you want to share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve my community. I love the idea that I can give back in this way. I know the Planning Commission is a very important role in the city and how we develop and how we support our residents, so I'm appreciative of that. As Mayor said, I moved here about 8 years ago. I live in Shadow Lake, and very excited to come back. My daughter graduates this year and already has a job at Papillion Lewis Schools as a special ed teacher. So the family's really committed to Papillion, and we just love the small town atmosphere and how people can connect in many, many ways. I currently am the president of Arbor Day Carbon in Lincoln, and in my prior years as YMCA, I've done quite a bit of development work and partnered with planning commissions throughout the U.S. On various extensions and expansion projects. So again, I'm really pleased to be here and to be called to service in this way, so I appreciate it.
Thanks again. Appreciate it. Any other proponents or opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
Eight yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Thanks again, Chris. Next is item F1, Resolution R240034, a public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve the First Amendment to the Thrasher Mixed Use Development Agreement. It's a public hearing. I'll open it. Do we have any proponents? Any opponents? Is the applicant here? Okay. Okay. You don't need to come up if you don't want to. I just wanted to make sure that sometimes it's important to at least know you were here. If there are no proponents or opponents, I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R240034? Motion by Councilman Glover. Second by Councilman Fanslaw. No, Councilman Stubbe. I'm sorry. Any council discussion? Please vote.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item F2, Resolution R240036, a resolution to approve the adoption of an amendment to the Arterial Street Improvement Program, ASIP, the Priority Projects Map. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R240036? Motion by Councilman Klug. Second by Councilman Stubbe. Any proponents or opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. We've got a fairly light agenda tonight. It's all regular agenda items. Committee reports. Public facilities, I understand Ms. Klug.
Yes, my counterparts made me chairman of this, so it's the Public Facilities Committee. We met tonight. It was a light agenda for us. The largest item we had was to discuss the naming of 2 parks. That will be coming forward as a recommendation. And we did follow the naming guidelines that this council had approved back in 2013. So those will be coming forward to make sure that the council knows what parks are being named which. We did have a couple discussions under other business about the pickleball and that the city is working hard to get us some more opportunities for play to occur during the warmer months. So we're hoping that that will happen this summer. Schweer Park is getting their new playground, so don't be surprised if you go over there and a lot is happening over there. It's good things. We're excited to see that happening already, so hoping that it'll be heavily utilized and actually completed before the water park gets turned on, or the splash pad, excuse me, the splash pad gets turned on. And then last, Tony did share with us that the city park, they have had their first meeting about the redesign on it. So we're looking forward to seeing what that's going to look like. And that was the end of our meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Any comments from the floor? We got a student with us, don't we? You got to come up and tell us what brings you here. Introduce yourself and what brings you here.
My name is Sophia McDowell, and I'm here for my American government class.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Any other comments from the floor? Any council comments? Just the last couple of weeks, again, United Cities have been meeting on a weekly basis just to monitor what's going on in the legislature, but it's kind of slow moving there. I think there's so much negotiations being done behind the scenes. The public's not seeing it until it's on the floor. So not a lot to report on there yet. Then we had the Employees of the Year Awards, which Ms. Powers already mentioned. And then Gross Sarpy, the Economic Development Corporation's got a new director. She came here at one time and introduced herself. She's going to each of the cities to get a little bit more in depth what's important to us. So we had a meeting with her during the last couple of weeks, and that was very good. She's got a lot of experience that she's bringing to us that I think will be relevant to being a city next to a metro area. So I'm looking forward to what she's got. And then just a couple of the reminders. On the 21st at 4 p.m., there's another ribbon cutting for Indigo Crafts, and they're a art craft retail shop. So they've got a ribbon cutting coming up. And then mention the cleanup days on April 15th. And then just this week, we did submit a letter of intent to the state for our creative district. We've talked about creative district through the last couple of budget cycles. And so we did formally submit our letter of intent. So we'll see we've got a meeting next week where they're going to interview us. And so we'll give you an update on that. And then you should have at your desk an invitation to a celebration with Vita Nova. And if you're not familiar with that, that's the organization that bought the old Nebraska Christian College campus on 114th and Schramm. And so they're having kind of a, not a ribbon cutting, but a smaller celebration of what they're doing. So if you want to learn about that, take advantage of that. And then I think the only other thing is the Vietnam Memorial still coming along. If you haven't been out there, all the obelisks have been placed. The different walls are starting to go up. The flag poles, most of those have gone up, and there's a lot of flat work that's being done right now. And then I think next week the mounting pole for the Huey helicopter will go in. And I think, if I remember right, Tony, the completion and the turnover, I think, is May 20th is the schedule for that. And then June 6th will be the official dedication ribbon cutting. So put that on your calendar. I think it's going to be quite an event. I think that's most of the events. We do have a closed session tonight. And just because we've got a student in the audience, closed sessions, we don't do a lot. Generally, all the business of the government's got to be out in the open. But there are a handful of times where a majority of the city council can go behind closed scenes and have some discussion, and it usually has to do with negotiations. If you're going to negotiate on buying a piece of land, or you got a potential something in a lawsuit, something like that, you don't want people to know your negotiation strategy. So we can go behind doors and talk about that. That's the only thing we can talk about back there, and no votes can be taken. It's just discussion. Any votes that we take have to be back out in the public realm. So civics lesson, when you go back, you can report on that. So is there a motion to go into closed session to protect the public interest to discuss potential litigation and land negotiations? Motion by Councilman Glover, second by Councilman Fanslow. Any proponents or opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
I'll state for the record, the purpose of the closed session is only to discuss potential litigation and land negotiations. Closed session will include the mayor, city council, city administrator, deputy city administrator, city clerk, assistant city attorney, and the human resources director.